Hi everyone, this is a training video for order entry within QuadraMed for inpatient services. As many of you know, the ED is now electronic for documentation as well as CPOE, or computerized order entry. What this means for the inpatient services is simply differentiating their stat orders from their standing orders within the order entry field of QuadraMed. Stat orders are those orders that you traditionally placed on the yellow sheets within the emergency department. And standing orders are those orders that you placed within the order entry field to activate when the patient actually arrived to the floor. I want to start by briefly orienting everyone to the medications column on the master whiteboard that's displayed on the plasma screens within the ED. It has three separate sections. The first section is for stat orders. The second section is for standing orders or conditional orders. And the third section is for orders that have already been dispensed or completed. So let's head on over to QuadraMed, where I have two test patients open. One is an EP patient and one is an IP patient. And the reason I have two open is to show you how to do order entry with both patient types. The first patient, ultra low, is a patient that has already been converted by admitting to an inpatient. What that means is that you're going to see your usual desktop as you're used to it, and your usual patient shortcuts as an inpatient team. Within this desktop, you usually have on your patient shortcut menu the order entry option. This order entry option is where many of you have currently been placing all of your orders. What you'll need to do is now use order entry only to put in your stat and single dose orders. If you want to put in standing orders, you're going to go further down to transfer with conditional orders and use the little tab to the side and select write conditional orders as receiving provider. This is what you're going to use to put in your standing orders for patients. And when you go into this field, you'll see that admit to unit is the first option. What this means is that you're going to activate these orders only when the patient actually arrives to the floor. You don't actually have to define the unit that the patient is being admitted to. It just means when the patient gets admitted to a unit, these orders will activate. And then you can use your usual screens that you're used to, like vital signs, activity, diet, antibiotics, medications. This is where you're going to be placing your standing orders, and on the whiteboard within the ED, these orders will populate the second part of the medication column. So these are going to be conditional orders. And if you use, again, this order entry, this is where you're going to be putting only your stat medication orders and standing medication orders within the ED. And again, transfer with conditional, submenu, write conditional orders is where you're going to be putting in your standing orders for patients. Now I'm going to switch over into our other patient, which, as you can tell in the top right-hand corner, is still an EP patient. Sometimes this occurs when an admission order is placed to admitting, however, they have not changed the visit type over to IP or inpatient. As you can tell, the entire desktop looks different than the inpatient desktop. If you're an admitting team and you come to the emergency department for one of your admitted patients and their visit type is not yet changed, you can still use the patient shortcut menu and enter the orders for that patient. You're going to go to order entry, submenu, conditional order, and this is where you're going to place, again, their standing orders and orders that you want to activate once the patient actually arrives to the unit. And again, stats and single doses would be placed just by clicking order entry itself. So as we go back to our ED whiteboard, for patient test whiteboard, I've entered 5 stat medications, and you can see they populate the stat section of the field. Even though there's a visual reminder for the ED nurse, we still request the inpatient team please notify the ED nurse of any stat order entries. For patient ultra low, I've actually only used the conditional order set screen, so you can tell that orders only populate the second column, which is non-stat orders that will only activate when the patient goes to the floor.